That would be a Steve Laffey and Conley taking on the crossing guards, the pension system and the school system all at once, because the special interests don't want that. But the people should. And they should. And I've just been blessed to be able to, is that the last slide? I think it's the last slide. Well, yeah, by the way, here's the other thing. I mean, listen, I'm supposed to be this tough guy, about 5'10", 170 in my underwear. And, you know, and I don't get along with people, but until I was 38, till I came back home, I seem to get along with everybody. You know, in the private sector, I seem to get along with everybody. Not everybody, but most of the people. And I come home and I'm like this unreasonable guy. I was only like, everybody I dealt with in the private sector was fairly reasonable. This is not reasonable. It's not reasonable because we are failing. You know, I mean, the government talked about some test scores last night in the school system and some local tests in Massachusetts. Our test scores are terrible. We've got kids at Central High School at 2% can do 11th grade math and be proficient. Proficient means C. Doesn't mean B or A. What the heck are they talking about? We are failing our children. We are failing our cities. We have failed. And we have to stop and not do incremental things, but to stop and do revolutionary things. I'll use this example because I just, you know, it can't just be, we're going to get along. It has to be a direct confrontation with the powers that be. The reason things changed in Cranston, Rhode Island, the reason that 9-0 to vote for my budget every year except for one Republican, so 37 to 1, one guy didn't show up, over 4 years voted for my budget without changing basically a dime. The reason that they voted 9-0 to fire the crossing guards over and over again, nobody wanted to do it. The 3 Republicans didn't want to do it. Nobody wanted to do it. The reason that they stood up to wasteful school spending, even though the city council had 7 more meetings where they tried to give them money. They tried to give them more money when I said no. They never did. 9-0, never did. The reason that they voted 9-0 to end the pension plan were 2 things. Thousands of people showed up. And people like Dan York over here to the left literally broadcast live outside of the building, outside of the room. When they saw the people like they see you here tonight, acted. They did things that for them, you know, were really good for us. I mean, not because they liked us or liked me. It's that they knew that if we didn't change this, I mean, that they knew that the people were coming. They cared. I, at one point, put up a screen when we fired the crossing guards of the city council numbers, and I wanted them to call the people in the audience, 1,000 people to call everybody. I had my own Republicans saying, Mayor, call off the dogs. They didn't mean they were nice people. But they just said, don't have, I get home at night, my message box is full. In order to change Rhode Island, I hate to be as frank as this, 10,000 people or 20,000 people need to be at the State House. They need to pitch tents. They need to do what I did to my state rep, Bob Jacquard, just recently. Just saw him at a coffee shop. He's a very pleasant fellow. I've known him for years, and he and I have had many conversations. And I just looked at him and said, Representative Jacquard, you need to resign.
Wow.
And he looked, he went like that. And he knew he should resign. I'm telling you right now, he knew he should. I said, listen, you've destroyed this beautiful state. His response was along the lines of, well, we do need some new leadership, and we're going to get some new leadership. And I'm like, no. You're the leader. You got elected. You destroyed the state. You voted to unionize daycare workers. You spend your times on useless bills. You don't think people in the state can handle their 401k plans rather than the pension program because you think people are stupid. I don't. But you have destroyed this place. I know you're not going to, but you should. And quite frankly, that's the message. It's beyond like Republican, Democrat. I'm a Republican. It's beyond that. It's like the people in power need to leave. People can quibble with this plan. No one has so far. It's kind of weird. No one ever does. They actually will just say, oh, Laffey's not a nice guy. You know, Laffey did this, Laffey did that, whatever, blah, 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 blah. They won't ever say, no one's going to say we shouldn't do this. They'll just ignore it. They'll ignore it until you make them do it. I mean, I know I'm taking more than the time I'm supposed to, but I can take a couple of questions, but... This is Colleen's sister here. Go ahead. Go ahead, hold on, I'll give you a...
I'm Lillian Del Papa, North Province. I have seen in the last year, as you have, over the country, a great resurgence of people that are knowing more and learning about their rights. And I think in Rhode Island, this is about the time for the same thing.
Time to educate, time to educate people again and again and again. I always get frustrated how many times that things have to be said. Like that school committees are different than, anyway. You've said it 4,000 times and I have too. Anyway, I really do appreciate your time. I know you got a question back there? Just yell, go ahead and yell.
I want to tell these people in this audience, I found the state of Rhode Island 2008 payroll for the state. And I can guarantee everyone in this room that the people who work for us are making a whole lot more money than us.
They are.
And that needs to change.
Yes. Go ahead, just yell, go ahead.
Terry Gorman doesn't have a question for you about illegal immigration, verify.
Yeah, well for it, yeah.
I have it. Does Terry have a question?
Terry knows the answer to the question. I mean, Terry and I asked the same question to me 7 different times. Listen, in all seriousness, the nation needs to basically its high unemployment. Not to get on the national topics, go to zero immigration until the unemployment rate falls. Go ahead, sir. Just yell louder.
You know, I've lived here all my life. I love your message today. I really love the message. You want us to pitch the tent, and we're ready to do it. Are you going to be there with us? The people, I don't want to be in limbo land anymore. You want to pitch the tent? I'm there with you.
Well, thank you.
I wanted to hear it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Anyway, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Steve, my 12-year-old daughter has an obligation to pay for the retirement of a 42-year-old fireman who spent 2/3 of his career asleep, okay? On the job. Can we fix that problem without raising my property taxes in Warwick to $7,000?
Yes, I mean, we need the right to privatize and the right to fire. I mean, those are the two things that go right at. I mean, when I did the first study, I mean, in fact, it makes me, I see these articles that come out once in a while that's like, it's brand new, that we have more firemen than we need. Folks, it works like this. Fires have gone down over the years, and like pressure-treated wood and non-flammable material have gone up. And yet, Cranston has twice as many firemen as it needed. It was always cheaper for me as the Cranston mayor to not hire anybody. I got in all kinds of trouble because I'd rather pay them overtime than put them on a job where it would be like a $2 or $3 million present value cost. So yeah, we need the right to do that, to shape things the way we want them. If we don't get that, listen, 20-some-odd% of the cost of the, whatever the Cranston budget is, forget about the federal, just the local property tax cost, is pensions. It's pensions. And listen, I'll just tell you one funny story about how I feel about this. When the Club for Growth did all kinds of background work on me before they supported me in my run for the United States Senate, and they spent like $20,000. They had someone come in and pull every file. They called every enemy. They called old girlfriends. They called my ex-wife. They called everybody. And they tried to figure out if I was a bad guy or a good guy. But the funny part that they came up with, I mean, I guess, a relatively good guy. But the funny part they came up with was that when I had to sign retirements for people who are 40, I couldn't bear to sign them, but legally I had to. So when they pulled all the documents, they saw that I signed it like literally this big, with just my initials on things I hated to sign. And when I got a veto done or something that I liked, I made it really big and so forth. But